Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have SNM Global Holdings, trades on the OTC Pink sheets under the symbol SNMN, and is a media-based holding company that includes assets in the film, art, and self-care industries. It also has branched into the MJ space as a diversification. Please welcome its president, Troy Lowman. Welcome back, Troy.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks for having me again. It's good seeing you again.
All right. We look forward to your presentation. The floor is yours.
Okay. So since August, when we talked last, quite a bit has gone on. Like I say, COVID's starting to come to an end, and a lot of the businesses that we had initiated at that time are now going to launch here in the first or second quarter of 2022. So just to summarize what we are, SNM Global Holdings is a holding company. We're diversified. We are media-based. We're an entertainment company. But as a former stockbroker, I think it's important to diversify your assets, have revenue streams that encompass different sectors. So we basically right now have 4 divisions. The film company and art company is Bullet Point Properties, which we've already come out with 2 films, both won awards, Love Letters to the Shore and Ghosts of 33rd Street. Our third one, which is in post-production and should premiere within the next month, is a political documentary. We took a lot of time. We filmed it during just 45 days before the elections, got amazing footage, and we feel it's the best film we've had so far. It's going to be called Divided, and it basically looks at the country in a centrist lens. Like, why don't people come to the middle anymore? And we feel that we will put it on our streaming service, which, like I say, people can stream our films for free by signing up. It's bulletpointproperties.com. With your email, you can watch all our films. And we feel that not only will it be on our streaming service, but we feel that it will attract some bigger streaming services that might want to buy it or put it on their platforms also. So before I get into like what Bullet Point's doing otherwise, I thought we could see a trailer. You know, Ryan has uploaded the trailer of Divided. People can get a little taste of what the movie's going to be about. So Ryan, if you want.
The country's so divided, I just want to see how it shakes out. I want to see how it comes out on election day.
The best case scenario, in a sense, both parties have to readjust and realize they've gone too far and that there's a need for a middle ground.
I would say buy stocks if you get enough for your money.
Until we address the issue of the media wanting to sell opinion instead of selling news, we're not going to get over this.
Another governor making multiple disasters.
Well, I think you have 2 distinct camps right now. You have conservatives and liberals. There is a mindset that is significantly different in the vision of where the country should go and how it should be run.
When all of our sources for medical information have an agenda to spin us, you wind up with a badly misinformed population.
I think the Republicans are doing horrible things to America right now. But I also can see the historical origins of this. It's part of a process of democracy.
This is yet again another massive cultural shock milestone for millennials.
The thing to understand about political choices is that they matter.
And if you don't agree with either one of those camps, you're not even just disagreeing. It's like you're an idiot.
Definition of compromise is walking away from the table with just enough to be satisfied. But in this day and age, it's my way or no way.
The question is, Justice, the radical left. Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list? My fellow Americans, we will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days.
So you could see that it's a film that's probably going to resonate with a lot of people, and that everybody went through that time frame, and we feel it's going to cause a lot of discussion, a lot of interest. Now, once we premiere Divided, we have several other projects that right now are in motion. We're looking at doing a big motion picture, a big budget film, and we're launching our first annual film festival, Chester River Film Festival, in my hometown, the Eastern Shore of Maryland, in Chestertown, Maryland, where we're going to get cutting edge filmmakers and premiere their short films. It will give us content for our streaming service, and I think it will add valuation to the overall movie production company. So there's that. And then with Bullet Point, it's not only films, but it's also art. We're getting into digital art, and NFTs, where we will all do real art as well as digitize the art. We were waiting for things to loosen up there, and that will also be launched here in the first half of the year. Company is called Kolst, which is the Russian word for canvas. So we're excited about our movies and our art, our film festival coming up. We feel the valuation for shareholders and the stock price will be reflected in what we're doing with Bullet Point. But like I say, that is just one segment of what we have going on with SNM. The other one, we have Hemphub, which is the MJ app, which will also be launching. And it's not just MJ, it's more in the hemp industry, where it will encompass the entire industry. It's run by a very capable part of our company, David Atkins. It's his brainchild. It will be an app where you can learn everything about hemp, the benefits for health, retail, and such like that. So with that revenue stream, and also with our revenue stream, stepping back to Bullet Point, the way we want to do a revenue stream with Bullet Point is not charge people to watch the movies, but get followers on our site, get 200, 300, 500,000 followers, and then they can watch the movies for free, sort of like a Disney Plus or Paramount Plus. And we're not charge them anything. And then we sell revenue space on there, and we have a revenue stream there. The more followers we have, the more content we can put on, quality content, and the better off we are. So those are the two old guard films we have, Anna. After Bullet Point and Hemphub, we have added two since I've talked to you last year. We just recently announced that we took 100% of a company called Opel Energy, which has renamed itself Global Clean Water. Now, we came upon this company through personal relationships within SNM and Opel, and they like our media presence as well as our money raising abilities. We like that they actually have hard assets, and they have ready-made revenue streams and pending contracts. I can't really go into a lot of what they're doing, because we're going to, over the next several weeks to a couple months, we're going to announce a lot of things that they're doing. But they own a licensed technology called ROC, which they called ROC, which is a water purification company that's drawn a lot of interest with oil and gas companies in the Midwest. So we feel, even though we're not in that sector, that we absorb them. It gives us clean energy with the MJ space, as well as, the media company, which is our Vanguard. And we feel those three companies, along with a fourth one, which will be what I call an incubator company, that will take small pieces of all sorts of things, major motion pictures, investing in those, art exhibits, streaming services, any such thing. And what that will do is it will give us 4 different companies where we're not dependent on any one thing. We're not dependent on really a lot of brick and mortar overall. We're online with a lot of our stuff, our companies. And we'll have revenue streams coming from different angles. And the synergy, I think, will benefit all, including the shareholders, which we have a lot of loyal shareholders. So, Ryan, if you could play the last one, and then I could go into a question and answer period with the shareholders.
300 workers are losing their jobs.
Are you feeling stressed out these days? Hey, guess what? Join the club.
Violent altercations can happen from even the most minor lapses by drivers.
I post it every day, 10 times a day for 3 years.
Most people who go to jail because they break the law. That is just a fact. You go to jail, you have a trial, you're
There are some
found
people who
guilty.
break the law and don't go to jail. Most of the time they're white people.
His argument, which prevailed, was that his own gun, Kyle Rittenhouse's own gun, is what put him in danger and what justified him using deadly force.
There are people to this day, when they protest, hands up, don't shoot. They walk with their hands up and say don't shoot. They don't.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up!
The problem is we should abolish the police. I said, okay, and then what? You're just going to put in another police agent. You have to have them. So what is that going to look like? And where are you getting them from? Who's going to run them? Tell me what you're going to do next. Tomorrow, nobody comes to work. What do you do?
My fellow Americans, we will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days.
All right, let's go with some questions. So we have, we have one from Vivian Fernandez. She's new to your company. Tell us, remind us if you already spoke about this, what your model is, and are you a producer?
I am a producer. I've produced the first 2 documentaries, and the third one I also did. Usually I do movies that I have an interest in. The first 2 I did were real personal to me, about my hometown, and one about football. This one also I think will resonate. I'm intrigued by the politics of today and the middle ground and where it's been. I don't think there's anything quite out there like what we did with this. So yeah, I am a producer. I'm looking to, I love doing it. I'm looking to do a movie next. It's hard, but I feel with our model, which really harkens back to the day of the 60s and 70s, where you would watch free TV and they would pay for it with commercials. What I want is I want people to see our stuff, all our movies, all our content for free, and then, you know, have advertising on there that's not cumbersome. And it helps S&M with the revenue stream, and it allows us to continue to add quality content.
Okay. Damon Brewer wants to know how you get funding for your pictures.
Private investing. We have a lot of interest with, you know, some of the projects we have. So it's a lot of private investors. I put a lot of my own money into it. And, you know, at some point, you know, S&M wholly owns Bullet Point Films. So hopefully when we get into the bigger projects, you know, S&M will be able to help fund it also.
All right. Roland Paul says, when you say digital art, what is the model there? How do you plan to make money in the NFT space?
In the NFT space, you got to be really careful. You got to navigate. It's like the Wild West. But right now, you almost have a split personality when it comes to things like art, where you have the real piece of art and then you digitize it in the crypto market. So there's really a market for both. There's you know, some people really don't want the real art anymore. They would rather have a digitized version. And there's just a vast potential for everything you can digitize from. We want to concentrate on up and coming cutting edge artists, international artists who might not have the capital to really show their wares, but we might be able to help them digitize their art and sell them in an NFT market that I feel is sort of the model is sort of like eBay. You put it on eBay and you're going to have a market for it somehow, some way. So if we can get some cutting edge artists that take off, they're going to benefit, and then we're going to benefit along with them. So that's our model with that.
Great. Tom McDonald wants to know about the revenue space you sell. What form is that in? Banners in the movies, commercials, and how do you plan to get the advertisers?
Well, getting the advertisers would be easy once we have the followers. They'll line up. I am really sensitive to platforms that inundate people with ads in the middle of movies and such like that. So what we're going to do is try to ingrain it into our website, try to make it so it helps the advertisers, but it doesn't really deter from the enjoyment of watching the content. So that'll be an ongoing process, but I'm one that I don't want to plaster my site with, overuse of ads or interrupt movies. So when you will watch a movie on our streaming service, it won't be interrupted.
Sounds nice. Ann Pope wants to know, when will you start to realize revenue?
We're right there on the cusp, Anna. The movies, the streaming services, once we get that, I feel that with our content, this will be our third documentary. The film festival was supposed to be in the spring, but I thought it prudent to wait till the fall. So we want to get a little bit more content on there before we start selling advertising space. We want to get a little bit more following on there also. And then we'll be doing, it'll be instantaneous as far as revenues for that. With the clean water, they're right on the cusp. They actually are in the process of having, and you'll see in our news releases with them over the next couple weeks to couple months what they're doing. People are going to be really excited about what they're doing. Hemphub the same way. As soon as they launch the app, the revenues will be, not shortly thereafter. So the incubator will be more not of a revenue stream, but more of a asset gathering type of thing where we take little pieces of companies and invest in them and try to add to our bottom line. So hopefully we have 3 of the underlying companies that are revenue producing with 1 that is asset gathering.
Great. Donald Stewart has a few questions. I'll break it down for you. Talk about dilution. Will this come into play when it comes to managing your burn?
Well, I'm really, like I say, I'm a former stockbroker. I know how important it is to have a very manageable share structure. So I'm going to avoid, trying to dilute the stock as much as possible. If you look at the history of SNM, when I took it over in 2015, I actually eliminated over 2 billion shares in the structure initially. So it is well under where it used to be. And what I want to do is I want to try to keep it a tight structure and try to build our assets that through funding and try to minimize the dilution in the company if I can.
Okay. And do you have any convertible notes? If so, how many in terms of dollars?
Well, if you look at our financials, we do have some friendly investors from way back that have notes, but they're not toxic notes. They're very friendly, and they really only come into play down the road after the company matures. So we're really, you're not going to see a lot of convertible notes being converted here until the company is in a position where it's mature and it can handle it. So I set it up that way because I want to give the company a real chance here.
And last question from Donald. What about a share buyback? Any plans?
That's on the table. There's a possibility that will happen. Tell Donald that we will keep the shareholders informed. I'm very grateful to the shareholder base that we have. They've been with us a long time. We have some loyal following, and anything that will benefit them, I'm for. So, and like always, Anna, just like I talked to you last time, our ultimate goal is to do our audits and eventually go to higher exchanges. It's always been my goal. It's been my number one goal, and it always will continue to be my number one goal to drive towards that.
Question from Bob Taylor. He wants to know about your revenue numbers you have had since you've taken over SNM and what happened to the Reg A money you said you got years ago.
Yeah, we had the Reg A that we got approved with a couple years ago. It never really came to fruition. We never were able to really monetize much of it because at the time the mechanism was not in place for us to monetize it. Then we were getting ready to do another Reg A, but then the pandemic hit. So we scrapped that. And now what we want to do is we want to try to fund through other avenues, through the companies we have, through a revenue stream, putting the revenues back into the into the company and trying to build it that way.
Hilmi Ari says hello. And as a loyal shareholder, he says, I know that you want to uplist to the QB. To that, stock has to be at a penny for 30 days. It's going to take revenues. How are you going to do that? And how are you going to get everyone there?
Well, I think our structure's manageable. I think that the 4 companies we have right now, if we have an underlying valuation and we do our audits and it reflects that we should be at a higher price, I think organically that's the way that we can get it done. These 4 companies that we have put under our umbrella need to start to prosper. And if they do, it will be reflected in their valuation. It's just like anything else. If companies are worth a certain amount and shareholders see that the stock is undervalued, it will eventually go to the price where it should be. I'm hoping these 4 can carry us right where we need to be to get in a position to uplist.
Okay. Clay Farmer wants to know, are you focused on these documentaries mainly, or are you going to put them into a library to feature on other networks? How's that going to work?
Well, I was, the first 2 documentaries, we got a lot of interest from big streaming services, but they wanted to edit them out a little bit. I wasn't really for that. I want to keep the content, the quality, the way it is. So what I'm intent on doing is building our own library, our own streaming service. Today, every shareholder should go and sign up. You can see these movies for free, and you can watch what we start to accumulate on there. And our valuation will build as we build a library of assets there. So they can follow that in real time. So yeah, like I said, I am pretty particular about it. We had a couple big, especially with Ghosts, they wanted it, but they wanted to kind of hack it up a little bit. And I didn't want them to do that. So I said, well, we'll build our base, our film festival. And I was a sponsor for the Maryland International Film Festival for several years, back in 2016 to 2019. So I know kind of how it works. We're going to build this up into a cutting edge national film festival that's going to give us unlimited content to be able to use on our sites. So I think our movie production, movies are a tricky thing. I know that you can really lose a lot of money with it, but with the model that we have, I think that if we build our following and we have the revenue streams, that will, no pun intended, will be bulletproof.
Great. Michael Schluroff asks, what specific date will the numbers from Opel Energy revenue stream be released?
We're going to have a series of news releases with them. And Opel Energy, they're rebranding to Global Clean Water. So that's what they will be called from that. They'll be 100% owned by SNM also. But their management, I'm working with them to come out with a series, a timeline of things they're doing, contracts, numbers, such like that. I'm really a stickler for having everything very accurate and on point. So over the next month, you should see several news releases from them through us, and you're going to get a lot more insight on what they do. Now, they're already going to be reflected on our website as we speak. So if you want to go to our website, you can read a little bit more about them and what they're doing. But over the next month, you're going to really see what direction they're going in. I'm real excited about it. Like I say, it's a little bit of a departure from what we usually do, but this deal was too good to pass up for SNM to not take them on.
All right. Well, last question from Bob Taylor. He asks about you claiming to have had deals and with at least a dozen companies. Can you give us a status on previously announced deals?
Yeah, look, a lot of deals we went into got shuttered because of the pandemic. You know, the brick and mortar companies like Cannabis Kings, Daygro, some of the other things we had just didn't make the turn, or we didn't make the turn as a group through that 1.5 year period. So the pandemic taught me one thing, that you need to go more online businesses, be a little bit more fluid in your revenue streams. Do not depend on brick and mortar businesses as much. Obviously, the clean water is not that way. But like I say, we feel that clean energy is definitely something you should be getting into for the future. So that is the one company that we are going to continue on. So a lot of those companies, it wasn't for lack of trying or even relationships. It was just we got sidewinded by getting shut down over that time and just had to reboot. We feel that the 4 we have right now are the best that we've had at all, at any time. You're not going to see any of these go away. These are the 4 we're going with. We probably won't add any more, because if we add another company, it would be through the incubator company, which will have several companies. So we feel these 4, this hand will carry the day for us.
Well, thank you again for joining us, Troy. Great presentation. And please join us again soon so you can give us some more updates about all that you're doing over there. Thank you so much.
And it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. Okay, everyone, it's been an exciting day. Remember that in just a second, you'll be redirected to the registration page for the next conference. So stay on to reserve your spot early. So on behalf of all of us at Emerging Growth, I'd like to thank all of our presenters and our attendees for making this such a success. Congratulations on a year of this Emerging Growth Conference. Remember that a complete replay of this conference, separated by company, it's always available to you on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Emerging Growth Conference. Please subscribe. Also, follow us on Twitter @EmergingGrowthC. We always post new information on Twitter first. I'm Anna Berry, and on behalf of me and our entire team here, we want to thank you and wish you a healthy, happy, and successful 2022, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you all for joining.